Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this free sharing of knowledge on the basics of 奇门遁甲. My name is Zhigang from 德生风水. 奇门遁甲. By looking at this picture, it looks very old and traditional Chinese, right? It looks difficult also, but however, it is not so difficult when you focus on the correct path. Okay, basically it was developed from the Bagua and also the theories of I Ching. Let's begin. When we learn something new, we try to ask ourselves what is the meaning of 奇门遁甲, right? But in Chinese characters, there are so many meanings in one character. So I just explain on the surface of these four characters. The first character, 奇, okay, in Chinese it can represent 奇怪, strange. It can also represent 神奇, special. It can also represent surprising, right? So, but in this case, it refers to the three heavenly stems, Yi, Bing, Ding. Later, we'll explain to you why this is so special and important. The second character is Man, which literally it means doors, the access, right, to the Bagua. Okay, there are total 8 of them, namely 修生商度景此经开. Okay, so it was developed from the Bagua of the 8 directions. The third character means 遁. 遁, it can mean disguise, it can mean camouflage, it can mean unpredictable. The question is, who wants to make himself unpredictable and to whom? The answer is the fourth character, Jia. In ancient Chinese, Jia is always referred to the top, either as top student or top class, right? In this case, it's the commander or the emperor himself, the leader, right? So the first guess is he wants to disguise himself so that the enemy cannot identify him immediately, and he has to hide. Why he has to hide? Because in those days he was a weaker one. The system was developed from Taoist concepts and I Ching, etc., and the Bagua, which I have mentioned, right? And it was mainly used in military warfare, divinations, etc. Of course, the system has developed until now. We can also do divinations or even live data analysis used in our daily life. Okay, the system, however, emphasizes more on the 10 heavenly stems and the combinations of movement of stars, etc. We will explain that later, right? So the system can be erected to do the forecast for yearly, monthly, daily, and hourly methods. The most popular method that we are using now is the hourly method, and some name it strategic matrix analogy because of its nature. These are the some applications of 奇门遁甲. It is mainly used in military formations, art of war as mentioned. It is also used in divination forecast, which is almost the same powerful as the I Ching's forecast. It can also use for basic destiny reading, right? But with a different formula. With similar to the 4 pillars of destiny studies. Of course, it can do some basic feng shui before you audit the actual site. Okay, it is used as a supplementary tools. One of the famous articles records was written by Mr. Liu Bowen of the Ming Dynasty. Okay, he helped the first Ming emperor to build up the Ming Dynasty, which lasts for almost 300 years. Now, when we learn something new, right, it is good, especially for Chinese culture and Chinese studies. It is best that you know some of the background of this system because it really helps when you do your divinations. Now, there are many legends because it was written 6,000 years ago. So I just chose the most commonly used legend. It was believed that 6,000 years ago, 5 to 6,000 years ago, there was a guy called Huang Di and another guy called Ciyu. Okay, for simplicity, I just call Ciyu the bad guy and Huang Di the good guy. So Ciyu was believed to be very strong and he has many subjects and many brothers. And they are very good in building weapons using metal element. They are believed from the Western tribes to Huang Di. Okay, so in 奇门遁甲, they are represented by metal element, Gen and Xin. But however, Gen is the main one, which represents Ciyu and his tribes. And of course, the good guy, Huang Di, right? He is kind in his rule as a leader. But because his technology and knowledge is not so advanced that time, right? So he is represented in 奇门遁甲 as the Jia, as the commander, leader of the tribe. But as you know, matter element by nature is always stronger than the wood element. Therefore, if we say H1 wood element 甲木 represents the Huang Di and his tribe, and on the other hand, his enemy, Ciyu, and so-called the rebellions, right, is represented by H7 Genjing. Without considering the season, okay, I know some of you are experts in 八字, but this is 奇门遁甲. We just one-to-one compare first, okay. It means that it is the 七煞 of 甲木. So by nature, H1 wood is always in its losing end during the war. So what can Huang Di do, right? In ancient China, a lot of people believe in gods and deities. They believe there are many gods or deities in the heaven. So as usual, Huang Di, okay, every day prayed hard to the heaven and asked for a solution. And finally, legend says that in one of his dreams, okay, a lady deity, okay, who was believed to be the librarian of the heaven, bring down one book, heavenly book, which in Chinese called 龙甲神章. Okay, direct translation is something like dragon chapters. Okay, which includes the concepts of using 奇门遁甲 and pass this knowledge to Huang Di in his dreams. And he woke up and together with his prime minister that time was Feng Ho, and they together developed the basics of 奇门遁甲, and of course and other things. For example, like the famous uh, war chariots, which can only point south, right? The south pointing chariots also believed to came from the concept of this book, heavenly book. So finally, they used 奇门遁甲 and of course other things else, and finally defeated Ciyu, the stronger person, and get him killed. and finally he ruled the whole tribes that time. Okay, so now roughly we know the concept of Jia already, right? So how about the Sanqi just now we were talking about, right? The first Sanqi, right? Which is Yi Bing Ding. So Yi, as we know, since Jia is Huangdi, right? Is the leader and Yi is also a wood. So therefore, by this logic, we can say that Yi is also helping H1 Jia, right? And in the 5 combinations of the heavenly stamps, we know that H2 E can use to combine with H7, the direct enemy of Huangdi, right? To pacify Huangdi. Okay? So therefore, in 奇门遁甲 system, that is one of the reason why Gen is the bad guy, or you can use as your tools to represent the husband. If you want to see the relationship between the husband, right, and the wife, and of course the wife will, we can see Yi H2 in the 奇门遁甲 chart, but the details will not be discussed here because it's more complicated. How about the rest of the two, Qi, right, Bing and Ding, which are fire elements? As we know, fire elements can control metal elements, right? So Bing is a direct control, right? Fighting towards Gen, which is the metal element that represents Yu and his troops, right? And interestingly, we can see that H3 Bing can also use to seduce the friend of Gen Jing, right? Which is Xin Jing in metal element. And they can combine into water element. And this water element will nourish the H1 wood element, right? Therefore, by this logic, we can say that H3 not only, right, the Bing not only can attack H7 Gen, but it can also help to convince the friend of Gen, which is Xing, into water element and help the Emperor Huangdi, right? So in Chinese, this is called 化敌为友. Okay, so that is why these 3 elements are special in 奇门遁甲 study. Okay, if you want it to be more clear, in recent years or recent days, in the current era, okay, we can relate that E, H2 is like the counselor in the army. H3 is like the infantryman or guardsman, commando, special forces, right, of the emperor. And Ding is just like a military logistics surprise. Okay, so this is basically the basic concepts of Jia, Yi, Bing, Ding, right?